Welcome back my YouTube channel Old Car Stories. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most iconic and unmistakable cars in American automotive history. This car, 1970 Plymouth Superbird. This car wasn't just built for the road. It was built to dominate NASCAR and make a lasting impression wherever it went. From its aerodynamic design to its racing roots, the Superbird is more than just a car. It's a legend on wheels. The story of the Plymouth Superbird begins with competition. In the late 1960s, the muscle car wars were in full swing, and Chrysler wanted to make a strong impact on NASCAR. The 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona had already made waves, so Plymouth wanted its own version of a winged warrior. That's how the Superbird came to be, an attention-grabbing, high-speed machine built with one goal in mind: winning on the racetrack. The Superbird was based on the Plymouth Roadrunner, a mid-size performance car already known for its no-nonsense muscle appeal. But the transformation into the Superbird was dramatic. The most noticeable features were the enormous rear wing, mounted high on the back, and the extended, aerodynamic nose cone. These modifications were not just for looks. They were designed specifically to reduce drag and increase high-speed stability on the oval tracks of NASCAR. Under the hood, the 1970 Superbird offered serious firepower. Buyers could choose from 3 different V8 engines. The most common was the 440 cubic inch Super Commando with a single 4-barrel carburetor, producing 375 horsepower. There was also the 446-barrel, which used 3 2-barrel carburetors and delivered a thrilling 390 horsepower. But the top-of-the-line option was the legendary 426 HEMI V8. This engine pumped out 425 horsepower and had a reputation for raw, relentless performance. To make the Superbird legal for NASCAR, Plymouth had to meet the organization's homologation rules. That meant at least 1,920 street-legal versions had to be built and sold to the public. Plymouth ended up making around 1,935 Superbirds in total. This limited production run is one of the reasons the Superbird is so rare and desirable today. At the time, though, many of these cars sat on dealership lots unsold, as the wild design was a bit too extreme for the average buyer. On the track, the Superbird was a force to be reckoned with. NASCAR legend Richard Petty had left Plymouth for Ford in 1969 due to performance concerns, but the creation of the Superbird convinced him to return. In 1970, Petty piloted the Superbird to multiple victories, helping cement the car's place in racing history. Its aerodynamic advantages gave it a serious edge, especially on high-speed superspeedways. Visually, the Superbird made a bold statement. It was available in bright, high-impact colors like lemon twist, vitamin C, torrid, and the famous Alpine white. The huge rear wing was not just tall for show. It was mounted high to operate in clean air above the roofline, actually helping to keep the rear wheels planted at high speed. The long nose cone and flush grille were also designed with aerodynamics in mind, giving the car a sleek, almost aircraft-like appearance. Inside, the Superbird was relatively simple. It shared most of its interior components with the Roadrunner, including the dashboard and seating. Buyers could opt for bucket seats, air conditioning, and an AM radio, but the main focus of this car was performance. This wasn't a luxury car, it was a race car for the streets, and it made no apologies for that. Many people were surprised at the time by how radical the Superbird looked. The massive wing and nose cone made it difficult to park and even more difficult to drive in tight spaces. Some dealers even removed the aerodynamic parts just to make the cars easier to sell. But in the years since, those features have become part of the car's legendary status, and original examples with all the correct pieces are now highly sought after. The Superbird was only produced for 1 year, 1970. Changes in NASCAR rules and insurance rates made it impractical to continue building cars like it. NASCAR altered the regulations to reduce the advantage of aerodynamically enhanced vehicles, effectively ending the era of the aero cars. That's part of what makes the 1970 Superbird so special. It was a one-shot wonder, never repeated. Collectors today pay a premium for well-preserved Superbirds, especially those equipped with the 426 HEMI engine. These cars can fetch six-figure prices at auction, and their value continues to rise. They are not just symbols of a high-performance era, but rolling pieces of racing and design history. Each one tells the story of a time when carmakers were willing to take bold risks in pursuit of speed. The 1970 Plymouth Superbird may have had a short production run, but its impact is long-lasting. Whether you see one at a car show, a museum, or roaring down the highway, it's a car that demands attention and respect. There is nothing else quite like it, and that's exactly what Plymouth intended. The Superbird wasn't about blending in. It was about standing out. One often overlooked aspect of the Superbird's development was how much engineering went into it. The nose cone alone added nearly 20 inches to the car's overall length and required special bracing and modifications to the front fenders. The rear window was also modified with a plug to improve aerodynamics. Every detail had a purpose, even if it seemed excessive to the casual observer. Driving a Superbird today is like stepping into another era. The rumble of the big block engine, the heavy steering, the raw feel of the road. It's a very mechanical experience. There are no digital screens, no driving assists, and certainly no subtlety. It's a car that demands your attention and rewards you with an unmatched connection between driver and machine. Of course, not every Superbird was used for racing. Many found their way into private garages and became weekend cruisers or show cars. Their striking looks and rarity meant they were often preserved better than the average muscle car. Today, enthusiasts take great care in restoring these vehicles to their original condition, ensuring the legacy of the Superbird lives on. Beyond its performance and appearance, the Superbird is also a symbol of a bold era in automotive design. The late 1960s and early 1970s were a time when manufacturers weren't afraid to try new things. Aerodynamics, power, and character all came together in one unforgettable package. It was a time of fearless experimentation, and the Superbird represents the very best of that mindset. Even Hollywood took notice. The 1970 Superbird was the inspiration for the character, the King, in Pixar's Cars, voiced by none other than Richard Petty himself. That nod to its legacy introduced a new generation to the car's iconic design and historical importance, showing that the Superbird continues to inspire decades after it first hit the road. So, whether you're a fan of muscle cars, NASCAR, or just incredible engineering, the 1970 Plymouth Superbird stands out as one of the most legendary cars in American history. It wasn't built for everyone, but for those who understood its purpose, it was a masterpiece. A true old car story worth telling. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Old Car Stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss the next chapter in automotive history. Until next time, keep your wheels turning and your stories rolling.